I simply marked out the starting point and ending point for the 2 threads that I'm going to put in the cheek, and I numbed her up, so you might see her skin's a little bit white. And now what we're going to do is float 2 threads per side. It's fairly quick, but she's nice and numb all along, and the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to stop talking for a minute. I'm going to glove up, and we'll talk you through it, and you'll see what happens. And then later on, we'll sort of throw this up on Facebook Live, and certainly if you have any questions, you can post them there. We won't necessarily get to them live because of the way we're doing this, but I can get on later on, or one of my staff too, and we can answer individual questions if you do have them after the fact. So check it out. All right, turn for me, Danielle. If you feel anything sharp at all, let me know. Okay. So this needle is really just creating a tiny little entry hole. I know it looks big, but really it's not larger in diameter than an IV in the emergency room, so it's not quite as big as it looks. And then all I'm going to do is widen that little spot a little bit more, and that's so when I make a little knot, it'll be able to pop in where we want it to be. Are you feeling anything, Danielle? No? Good. Perfect. So this is thread number 1. It's loaded on this cannula, which is blunt. Okay, there's nothing sharp going on here, but I'll be able to place the thread exactly where I want, pull the metal out, and the thread will stay behind. All right, Danielle, you're going to feel pressure. There's a little bit of pressure required because it is, as I said, not sharp. How are we doing, Danielle?
Good.
We'll go right down to where we want to be. We don't have to go much further than that. All right. Now I'm going to lift her cheek up where, and you can see where I am. I'm going to lift up where I want that cheek to be. And I'm just going to carefully take the metal out, and I'm going to engage the thread. How's that feeling, Danielle?
Good.
Any problems?
No.
Just pressure, right? Okay. So right now we have 1 thread in, and you can see that it's definitely grabbed that tissue, and I'm able to lift it nicely. Now we're going to do 1 more to her fold, then we're going to tie these together, and that'll be the end of this side. So for the most part, all someone feels with this is the sting of the lidocaine as we're doing the numbing, and then the pressure afterwards. Okay, Danielle, 1 more. We'll start out the same. Good. Good. And now I'm aiming for that fold. Turn towards me a little bit, Danielle. Good. Feel some pressure. How are we doing?
Good.
Anything other than pressure?
Nope.
Okay. And get down there. That's where I want it to be. So I'm right there now. And again, I'll do the same thing. I'll pre-mold the cheek. And out comes the metal. And the thread stays behind. So now we've lifted away from the nasolabial fold. And then we engage the little teeth that are in the thread there. So that's a nice lift for her. She'll have a little bit of swelling along the way. All right, let's kind of feel that. I'm going to go ahead and do this side so you see what happens all the way from start to finish on one side. Get those marks on. Are you sore at all, Danielle? Does it feel like anything, or?
No, it's great actually. I'm numb. Just a little pressure, that's it.
So it does take a little bit longer than a filler procedure because you can see we keep an extra clean field like this. We don't have to go to that length with regular filler injections. But with this we do. So now I have the 2 threads. I have good control of her cheek. I'm going to go ahead and tie those together because that means that one will help support the other. Gives us a little bit more of an anchoring point. Okay. Let's make sure I don't have any baby hairs in there. Nope. Okay. So I'm going to make it a little over tight. Just for a second, Danielle. So that we get rid of that little knot. We'll get rid of that in a sec. Alright, so there's our knot. And off we cut it. Okay. Danielle, a little bit of pressure. Good. So right then, the knot just popped right into the thread. Just going to make sure I don't feel it there, and I don't. Alright, so as you can see, she has a very nice pickup of the cheek here. We will post the before and after videos. And all she has for a mark, if you will, is a tiny little needle hole close to her hairline. So that'll be real easy to cover. Alright, we're going to go on to side number 2. Alright, we paused briefly just to change our lighting here so you can see well. I marked these. I was actually taking a picture for a course on teaching and thread lifting, so ignore all those L's. Forgot that. Alright. So again, we're going to make her a little stick. Give that a second. And all I'm doing right here is stretching the skin a little bit more. Good. And you can see it doesn't even bleed because of the lidocaine, which is perfect. And again, we have the thread loaded on the cannula, not sharp. That's why we had to make this pilot hole. Danielle, you let me know if you feel anything other than pressure, okay? Sometimes I jiggle it a little bit. I made those L marks to show doctors where to put the lidocaine, that's all. In what order. How are we doing?
Good.
Good. I'm just checking my depth here. Good. Alright. And if we don't like our path, we'll come out for a second. Sometimes you have to make an adjustment. I'll give a little pinch here. Do you feel anything other than pressure, Danielle?
No.
Okay. Good, I like that path better. So that's the nice thing about these cannulas, they let you really get to where you want to be before you commit. Alright, so I'm right there where I want it to be for thread number 1. I'm going to pre-mold the cheek. And as I'm taking this out, I'm making sure the thread is disappearing in there, and it is. And then I'm giving it a little push. Alright, so just like before, these threads aren't smooth. They have little irregularities on them that are called barbs. Those are just thread material that's shaped like a doorstop, and it's molded to these threads. But it gives a really nice pull. You have really good control of the soft tissue with these. And we'll do the last one. Same thing as before, same hole. Alright, Danielle. And then we're coming down to the cheek. Tell me if you feel anything other than pressure, okay? Alright, there we go. How are we doing, Danielle?
Good.
Good. Feels the same as the other side. Good, looks good. And we're going to go right to that cheek region. Good. Alright, that's a nice depth. I'm going to lift that cheek up. And we're going to twist like before. Alright. And we're going to engage those. Alright. Now, threads just lift. They're not, as I said, going to plump. If there's an asymmetric volume, you know, if you have more volume on one side than another, the thread's not going to correct that. So they don't replace all filler for sure. They're just another way to get tissue relocated where you want it, but keep the look and the symmetry of the face very natural. Alright, turning to the side. And again, we can see that, at most, if you have a bruise, it's most likely going to be back in here. We try to avoid that. But she has a nice, beautiful cheek shape there, and just a tiny little entry point is all she has to deal with. Alright, and that is it. So if you have any questions about thread lifting, we're happy to answer those. The pricing certainly depends on how many threads, how long a case it is, but it can be as low as $6.75, so similar to a syringe of filler, and then it goes up from there depending on how many threads we're placing. Some of the other common directions to place threads from this point would be to the marionette region, and sometimes we place one from here down here to start to get that jawline lift that a lot of people are talking about. Now, if someone needs a heavier lift with threads, that's when I do start going back into the hairline, and those procedures are more advanced and take longer. But again, we wanted you to see today that this is a very simple, pain-free procedure really, except for the lidocaine numbing. So we're literally just going to put a little Band-Aid on either side, and we're done. There we go.